As Venezuela continues to spiral out of control, much of the world is trying to make sense of some scribbled lines on John Bolton's notepad. Now, the National Security Advisor held the notepad during a White House press conference announcing fresh sanctions on Venezuela. This note appears to read 5,000 troops to Colombia. Right now, there is little clarification from the White House on this note, but they have said that all options are on the table. Meantime, Colombia's foreign minister is dismissing speculation of any U.S. troops headed to his country. In the past week, a power struggle between Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and opposition leader Juan Guaido has caused violent unrest. 40 people have been killed and some 850 people have been detained in the recent violent clashes. So joining us now to discuss everything out of South America, we are being joined now by Executive Director of the Ron Paul Institute, Daniel McAdams. Thanks for being with us, Daniel. First, we know now that the U.S. has backed Juan Guaido as the official leader of Venezuela. Now the U.S. has granted Guaido control of certain assets held by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York and other U.S.-insured banks. And this came directly from the State Department. What will this do for Guaido, and what does this do to Maduro?
Well, what it does for Guaido and the opposition is it gives them a huge infusion of money if indeed Venezuela keeps shipping oil to the U.S. But this is nothing new. The U.S. government has been backing and bankrolling the Venezuelan opposition since at least 2002, if not before. But this will mean a more significant influx of money. It will also draw the battle lines much more clearly. It's the U.S. trying to underscore its assertion that this self-proclaimed president is indeed the legal president of the country. And now, Daniel, some 800 or so opposition supporters to Nicolas Maduro have been arrested, but none of them are Juan Guaido. Why not? Why has Guaido not been arrested? Well, from what I've understood, after declaring himself president, he's disappeared. Some say into the Colombian embassy. I don't know that he's been out in the open, but the U.S. has certainly laid down the law and set up a trigger that if you do anything against the opposition leadership, there will be severe consequences. And I think, going back to your opening line, I think that is what John Bolton was trying to convey when he mistakenly had his yellow legal pad open to the wrong side about the 5,000 troops. This is meant to send a message to the Venezuelan government. We are serious. We mean business. You better take all options on the table very seriously.
So, as we said, the U.S. is throwing their weight behind Juan Guaido. Russia has openly said they are backing Nicolas Maduro, but the Russian Foreign Ministry, the Russian Ministry of Finance, rather, issued a statement saying that they expect Caracas to still make timely payments on their debt to Moscow to the tune of like $100 million. But he also acknowledged that Venezuela might have a hard time in doing this because of the newly imposed sanctions on state oil. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously, Russia and China both have a lot of money that they've loaned to Venezuela that they're looking to be repaid. I think they still owe the Chinese some $20 billion. So the question is, what will Russia do? Obviously, they should be concerned that if Guaido takes power, he's not going to repay the money. Maybe they'll foreclose on the loan and seize the assets beforehand as a preemptive move. But obviously, they're getting concerned and should be getting concerned because the goal here seems to be, if Plan A doesn't work, which is get the military behind this coup immediately, which thus far hasn't worked, then move on to Plan B, which is absolutely decimate the economy, cause social unrest, and then maybe if you have those 5,000 troops next door, then they'll be called into a humanitarian mission to save the people of Venezuela. I think that is Plan B is what they're looking for now.
Now, let's stay with that for a second, Daniel. What if let's say Guaido does take over and he kills the relationship that Venezuela has with Russia? The debt gets, as you said, gets completely squashed. He obviously is working with the U.S. government. What does this do to geopolitics of the region between Russia now and Latin America?
Well, it's sort of like we're doing Syria all over again, but much stupider. The question is, I mean, the Russians obviously understand what's happening. They understand. I mean, John Bolton is making no mystery of it. He said literally on television yesterday on Fox News, he said, we want to get American companies over there. We want to take their oil. The policy is explicit. We want to overthrow the government and take the oil. So there's no question that the Russians are interested because they're exposed in this situation. So you know, you would presume some sort of preemptive move on the Russian part, at least in terms of finance, to protect how they're exposed financially.
And real quickly, Carlos Vecchio is this new guy that's newly appointed as the U.S. envoy to Venezuela. What do you think about him? What does this move mean in diplomatic terms when somebody gets plucked out of the ether and is being sent to deal with Guaido?
Well, he's part of a team that includes someone like Elliot Abrams, who's been involved in regime change in Venezuela for at least 20 years. So this is nothing new. Don't forget, Guaido and the group of opposition have been trained by the United States. Max Blumenthal has a great piece out today about tracing the training of these people in how to overthrow their government, financing to the tune of millions of dollars. The guy is unknown in his country. Only 20% of Venezuelans have even heard of him before he declared himself president. So this is something that's popped out of whole cloth, and the U.S. has done this with color revolutions throughout the Bush and Obama terms. This is really following the exact same pattern.
All right, we'll leave it right there. Daniel McAdams, thank you so much for spending some time and sharing your insights with us today.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.